who is with us now because it is Tuesday. He's with us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Ollie, it's good to see you. Thanks for being with us again today.
Absolutely. Good to see you guys. How's everything going?
Well, everything is going really well here, and we do want to open it up to people, too. So if you have questions for the manager, 314-436-7900, or if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you can leave a comment there, and we'll try to get to as many of those as we can. So, like I said, the first game in Baltimore did not go your way, but overall, the team is still playing some pretty good ball in the month of May.
Yeah, they're playing really good baseball, man. I'm pleased with what we're seeing. That homestand was awesome. I know Detroit took 2 from us, but those games were really, really good games against a good team. That's a good lineup. They threw some good arms against us. It was a solid challenge, but I liked the way we played, even though we lost that series. And then the Arizona series was incredible, man. 3 one-run ball games, and just the way we fought back in each one of those games was telling as to the mentality of this group. It's been fun to watch. I mean, even not having Helsley that last day and Phil going out there and closing out that game. I mean, it got hairy, but Nato doing what Nato does and him getting that punch out at the end to sweep was incredible, man.
Ollie, Bernie, congratulations on the good run in May. I wanted to ask you about, because I saw some comments from the players, and I wanted to get your part in this too. The crowds were bigger over the weekend, maybe to be expected because it's Memorial Day weekend, but still, from the naked eye, I mean, a lot more visible, a lot more energetic, a lot noisier. What does that mean for your team when you get that raucous atmosphere at home?
Here's the way I'd put it: fans are earned. It's not just a given that people are going to show up for the sake of showing up. Fans are earned. And the last 2 years have not gone the way the club has wanted it to go, for the fan base has wanted it to go. And you have to earn that back. And you earn that back by playing baseball the right way and playing fun baseball. And we're doing that every game, every inning, every pitch, and we're starting to earn that back. But this weekend at home was incredible. I mean, the crowd – Friday night was awesome. Saturday was incredible. And then that last inning, man, when Nato decided to stay in that game to finish, the place went absolutely nuts. And what I can say is, one, thank you, because it's meaningful and impactful to have that place filled the way it was this past weekend. But the players really appreciate it. When you have a young group, man, you're really hoping they could experience Busch the way we've seen it in the past, and for them to understand what it feels like to play in St. Louis. So that's something that's earned, and we're going to play like the way we've been playing in order to get that back.
You're going to play 9 games, a 9-game homestand starting on June 3rd against the Royals, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays. So, we'll see. I mean, they kick off the summer with some Cardinal baseball, and you continue to play well. I was there Saturday. That place was electric. And then you mentioned the catch by Nato. I mean, this was special. I mean, that was an incredible defining moment, I thought, for the club. I wanted to ask you about him because obviously he's still trying to find it at the plate, but he's so elite defensively. How does he and you as a club compartmentalize that? Because obviously he's doing 2 things at once and doing it really admirably.
So he does a really nice job of separating that. He always has, and he takes a ton of pride in his defense, right? Like he views himself as really good defender and a really good hitter. And when he's on defense, he's focused on playing defense. When he's on offense, man, he wants to be the best offensive player on the field. But it goes back to his offseason, man. He felt like he wasn't moving as well. And he took that part of his offseason series. He came back in what he described as feeling in the best shape he's felt in a while, and he's moving like it. I mean, he's getting some balls that he didn't get to last year, and the plays up against the net have been incredible. But if you look at that game on Saturday, man, he makes that diving stop in the 6th hole and throws him out, barely picks it on the other side of it. Like that saved the game right there. So back-to-back games where his defense really comes to play. And offensively, I believe in Nato. I do, man. I feel like there's going to be a stretch of games where he's going to carry us. He hasn't looked the way he's wanted to up to this point, but I really do believe it's something that's coming.
Ali, I wanted to ask you about Lars Nootbaar. He got off to such a great start offensively as your leadoff hitter. I won't read the numbers to you because you know what they are, and it's no need in boring everybody else. But he's in a rut. A lot of things are not going very well for him right now. What do you see there? What's going on, and how does he come out of it?
Um, Man, there's two parts of it. Yes, he doesn't look the same way he looked early, and that's just part of the ups and downs of 162. You're going to have stretches where you are on fire and stretches where, man, you can't buy a hit. But I think there's a combination of that with some of his batted ball stuff. Like even yesterday, man, he hits a really hard line drive. I think 105, 106 center field. It's right at the guy. Some of those fall, and you just feel better about yourself, and you carry yourself a little bit different, and it doesn't bleed into the next day. So I think some of it is approach driven, some of it is just overall luck. But the combination of those two things not going his way at the moment feels a little worse than what it really is. But this is a guy that he controls he controls the strike zone really well. And those guys tend to not have too long of stretches where it doesn't start clicking for them again. So this is a guy that's not going to chase a ton, and I think we'll get back on track sooner than later.
Just a quick follow-up. He's been, when he's at his best, man, he does such a great job of battling pitchers and taking pitches and just not letting them off easy. But I can't help but notice his walk rate during this downward time is really, really down compared to what it normally is.
Yeah.
Is that a sign perhaps that maybe he's being overly aggressive, or no?
Yes, it is 100%. And that's the thing, when some of these hits don't fall, you tend to want to do more. That's what I'm saying. Like if that line drive is a double and the one back at home kind of drops in for him, then you feel better about it, and you continue to take the same approach that you usually take. When those don't drop in, you try to do a little bit more than you need to. But because he understands the strike zone so well, I think he'll get back to doing what he normally does, which is not chasing around, letting guys, if they want to nibble, pitch to the edges and waiting for his pitch in the middle of the zone, and getting back on track. So I'm not concerned with Newt. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs to his season, but not a big concern for me at the moment. Yeah.
I know there was a question about lineup construction. Well, there always is when it gets baseball, right? So we're always talking about how the lineup is done and sticking with players to make sure they are able to work themselves out of slumps if they are in one, but also knowing when to make moves. Do you have a general philosophy on that for how long you want to stick with somebody in a particular spot in the order, whether it's lead off or cleanup or whatever it is?
No, great question. We would have to get more specific in order for me to like truly answer that in a meaningful way, because it really is a lot based on the personality of the player too. If it's something where you think by moving him, whether a player's doing really well and you move him up, or a player's not doing well and you're moving them down, based on their personality, you want to make sure that when you do it, if it doesn't go as planned, then what? Right. So like, let's say a young player is doing really well and he's hitting 6th, and you're like, all right, I want to move this guy up to 2. Well, if you move him to 2 and then it doesn't go well, what's your plan then? Because it could really affect his mentality, and you can lose him for some time by moving him back down, because now he feels like, man, maybe I don't belong. Maybe like they start to think the worst. So you want to make sure that when you do something that you're planning for, when it doesn't go well, do you still have a plan for that? And if so, like, do you feel good about it? And then when sticking with guys when they're not doing well, whether that's the top of the lineup and you're thinking about moving them down, like, you just have to. I'm probably going to be more patient than most when it comes to that, because at the end of the day, in order for us to continue to do what we're doing, we're going to need those guys to do their jobs in the positions that they're in. So you tend to be a little bit more patient with that, and hopefully that answers a little bit of your question.
Ali, a follow-up on Arenado, 2 things, actually. One, is he good enough to play today? And 2, I Nolan Gorman was in there yesterday. I know he made an error, but this may get glossed over because of the 5-2 loss yesterday. But Gorman with 2 hits yesterday, 2 of your 4 hits, I thought was kind of a big deal. What did you see out of Gorman?
Yeah, when you look at Gorman right now, it's really tough for him because he's not getting everyday playing time. And based on a lot of the other guys and how they're performing, it's just hard to keep a rotation that allows him to be in there 4 or 5 days a week, right? So with his type of hitting profile, it's hard. I mean, he's got some swing and miss in his game. It's hard for him to get in a rhythm. So for those that are saying, man, he's not driving the baseball, he's not hitting homers, he's trading a little bit of that power for contact. If you look at his swing and miss, it's down. His walk rate's up. He's not chasing as much. And we're seeing some of the benefits of that. If you were to give him a little bit more playing time and run him out there 4 or 5 days a week, I think he can start stepping on the gas a little more, and we would see more doubles and homers. But for the time being, I think he's taken a really good approach for coming off the bench and playing 1 to 2 times a week at the moment.
So if he's only getting that 1 to 2 times a week, it's pretty difficult to put together a resume, really, right? I mean, so how do you do it? Because it's almost like if I play twice a week, I play today and then I don't play again for another couple of days, you have to perform in those days.
Who do you want me to play him over? Like, that's the question, right? Like, who do you want me to sit?
Well, I'm not advocating for anybody sitting. I'm just wondering how you balance that if you're trying to get him, meaningful at bat so that he can become a real hitter.
Yeah, we're doing the same with other guys too. And some guys are running with it, right? So he's on pace for 315 at bats at the moment. And the ups and downs of a season, injuries, like he may surpass that based on being able to get in there a little bit more as the season goes on. For the time being, that's just what the playing time looks like. And we've been very upfront and honest with him. I actually had a really, really good conversation with him yesterday. And he's creating a routine that allows him to stay ready, knowing what the situation is today, and knowing that might change. But he needs to create the regimen that allows him to take hold of that opportunity when it does come. Because the season's long, man. It's bound to happen where he gets a much longer run, and that'll be his time to show it. But for the time being, that's just the rotation that it allows for. It's not ideal, I'll tell you that. But we're trying to balance it.
Usually when we talk about Gorman, then we talk about Walker. They're so linked together because so much is at stake for both of them. Before yesterday, Walker in his previous 10 games, was hitting 375. His slug was over 5. He had that big home run in Kansas City, drove in 8 runs, and we saw the big hits over the weekend. But I don't really care about yesterday. I know it was a rough day for him, so I'm going to just put that aside. What are you
Sure.
what are you seeing? What are you seeing from him? And I know 10 games is a small sample, but what are you seeing from him that tells you he's finding something?
I think in hearing him talk through how he's feeling with the adjustment that he's making with where he's actually launching from, that gives me some hope that we're headed in the right direction, because it's not just an adjustment that Brownie feels like is going to be more effective, but it's one he's comfortable with. So those two things coming together is a good thing. And for him, it's going to be a lot of just pitch selection. Like yesterday, to your point, not a great day, but if you see what they did, they were just spinning him to death down and away. And it's going to come down to him being disciplined enough to get the ball closer to him. Because when he does, we saw what that weekend looked like, and that was fun. If you get a contributing Walker to that degree, it's a lengthy lineup, especially if he's going to be down there in the 7-8. There's not a whole lot of breathing room there. So he's continuing to take strides. I'm thrilled. Like, when I say thrilled, I am absolutely thrilled with the way he's going about it. There's a significant difference in his routine and how dialed in he is to it, how committed he is to it. And that's what gives me some hope in that, man, this is going to click sooner than later, because the work ethic's there. This guy's a super athlete, and there's a commitment to it now. So I feel good about it.
Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol with us on this Tuesday. If you have questions for the manager, you know how to do it. Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, leave a comment. You can also text 314-436-7900. Bernie, Tom, and Chris with the Cardinals manager. More with him next on KMOX.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park. Hey, it's Julie Tristan for the Muni Opera House. For the best selection and prices, become a Muni subscriber. See all 7 Broadway hits for as low as $126. Great seats are going fast. Pick your night, price range, and seat. Single performance tickets on sale May 19th. Single tickets start at just $21. Buy at muni.org. Call 314-361-1900 or visit the box office in Forest Park.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Stronger than ever.
This show, the Gashouse Gang, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Got the manager, Ali Marmol, joining the show today. Always does on Tuesdays. And that's sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
Ali, I have these players that I just get infatuated with, and my latest one is Pozo. I just thought that the game on Saturday there was a really cool moment in the game, I thought. I was with my daughter, and she's a softball player. And when Jordan got the double and he's pumping his fist and he's on second base, I said, they got to get Jordan home. So Scott grounds out and Jordan gets to third. And then Pozo comes up and I said, watch this. He will not strike out. He doesn't strike out. I assure you of it. He's going to make contact and bring home Walker. And it's exactly what he did. I just think that Pozo is an interesting talent. He's a really good receiver. He struck out one time all year, which amazes me. And it seems like everybody really likes him. I think it's an incredible find. Tell me about Pozo and kind of how you balance getting him in there.
Man, he's really good to have around because of his just positivity. I mean, he is as supportive of everyone around him as you can possibly be. But as a player, man, he has some real hitability. This guy, to your point, does not swing and miss. He's going to put it in play. And early in counts, he takes his shots and takes a really good at bat. So it's nice to have him as a backup because, to your point, he does a nice job behind the plate too. Like he receives well, he blocks well, and he's starting to really understand the game calling part of this that allows him to gain the trust and the comfort of the guys across the way, the pitchers. So he's done a nice job for us. But as far as being in that box, man, he's going to give you a really, really good at bat. But love having him around. He's been a really good addition. I'm glad we got a small peek at him in spring in order to feel comfortable making the move when we did. And then keeping him as the third catcher with Herrera doing as much DHing as he has been helpful as well.
Ollie, I wanted to ask about Ryan Helsley. And I just preface this by saying Ryan Helsley is an animal. I mean that in a good way. Tough as could be. He just competes his tail off. But I was looking at his numbers in preparation for this today, and there's some stuff that it's basically jump out at me. I mean, his swing and miss rate's down, his strikeout rate's down. He's walking more than he ever has. And the other thing is he's always just owned right-handed batters. And they've been doing a lot of damage against him this year. And I'm wondering if you could talk us through that and how much of it is based or at least related to the fact it's been more difficult for you to get him into more games because of the way these games have played out. But just talk us through this. What do you see with him?
I think it's a combination of that. When he's touching the ball every other day or 2 days on, 1 day off, 1 day on, and just more regular with that, it's easier for him to make the necessary adjustments. So as a reliever, it's really hard to work on these adjustments because it's not like you can throw a bullpen because you need to be available that night, right? So the more he touches the ball, the better he gets. And that's what we saw early on last year. I mean, we saw all of last year. So it's been a little bit more difficult with that. There's some things that he's working on early on. Two things. I'll mention one, but even with the slider and the shape of it and kind of what he's wanting to do with that pitch isn't what we've seen in the past. And those are adjustments that can be made pretty quickly, but it's hard because of not getting in there as much as he has. So I would not expect those numbers. What is it, 20% punch out rate against righties right now with an 800
Yep.
OPS. He's punching out lefties 29% of the time and keeping them under 500. So I would not expect those numbers to continue to look like that over the next few weeks. I would be very shocked if that was the case.
Want to get to some listener questions here, and you can submit them YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or texting 314-436-7900. Bill is watching on YouTube and wants to know how many innings Matthew Liberatore will throw this year before he is shut down or he wears down.
Yes, really good question. So that's more of a continued conversation with Libby and making sure that he's handling the workload, because you're looking at last year, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was under 90 innings, 86 innings or so. He's at 59 this year. So it's something that we'll keep an eye on. But this is a guy, man, he's different than most. He throws a lot. When he was a reliever, like, he wanted to throw every day. On days that we didn't use him, he wanted to kind of get on the mound and let it eat a little bit. This is a guy that recovers extremely well, who's strong and loves to throw. So it's more of a conversation than a hard line at, hey, we're only going to do last year plus 20 innings and then shut you down. We're going to continue to monitor his body and make sure it's responding well and recovering well. And we're not going to risk anything moving forward, but at the same time, like, we would be very intentional with making sure that we hear him out as far as how he's truly feeling. So there's no hard line of innings at the moment. As we get further down the road, we'll continue to revisit it, but definitely a good question because of the 86 innings last year.
Yeah, and Lauren has a question along these lines. Are you thinking about a 6-man rotation again for a couple of weeks in June?
Yeah, I am. If you look at the league at the moment, and thank God that it's worked out the way it has, but we've been very lucky with injuries. And a lot of that had to do with keeping everybody on a 6-man rotation in April. That's the month that gets everybody. But the injuries are through the roof across the league. We've been able to keep our starters healthy, and in order to continue that, it could be helpful to insert that 6-man. How we do it, we're continuing to discuss that and when. But it's definitely a topic at the moment.
We've got a caller, Dan, who is with us in Florissant. Go ahead, Dan.
Hi. Just a question. First of all, just want to compliment Coach. Man, what a fun year. It's really been exciting. I'm a huge fan. It's got me sucked back in. I'm watching every single game, or I'm reading it in the paper or whatever. I was just curious as to what your mentality was in that dogfight of a game against the Cy Young winner that we had to compete against in Detroit, and was wondering why. I'm sure Helsley could have been a good fit to get in there. I know you're thinking, hey, the game was tied, just wondering if you could take us through that. I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'll give you the short answer and then the long answer. The short answer is I jacked it up. The long answer is I'm sitting there, and I'm gonna go through that lineup again because you had Torres in the two spot. Matz was doing a really nice job. The one at bat that scared me was Matz against Torres. There's a reason they pinch him in between those 3 lefties, and it's because he scorches lefties. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, gosh, if I let him face Torres, meaning Matz face Torres, and he clips him for a homer, we're going to be down a run without using 2 of our best relievers in Leahy and Helsley. The best thing that could have happened is you leave Matz in that game. He gets Torres out, and then you just go to Helsley in the 9th, which is what you're supposed to do. You're tied at home in the 9th. You use your closer, especially in the meat there. But I did not want Matz to give it up to Torres, so I bring in Leahy, and he gets him out. Now you're in a little bit of a pinch because Leahy's been really damn good. And do you want to use him for just 1 out? So we sat there, Scalzo and Dusty and I, and we were talking through, man, do we allow Leahy to go through the 9th and gamble here because he's been really good, and then you have Helsley available in the 10th with a runner on second, and he's your biggest swing and miss guy. We got burnt. If I had to do it over again, I would not do it that way. I think I would actually I would either let Matz face Torres and gamble there and use Helsley in the 9th, or just use Leahy for 1 out and just go to your best guy in the 9th there. I felt like the players did everything they needed to do to win that game against a really good pitcher, and I didn't put them in the best position to finish that properly.
There is a listener question about, let's see, during that series, should the Cardinals, or this is during the last series, should the Cardinals challenge the win that was given to Helsley over the save he earned and given the win to Matz where it probably belonged? Did they care about?
Yeah.
Oh, you tried?
Yeah, I care about it. You kidding me? Absolutely. Yeah. We all do. So they said no. So yes, we tried.
A couple of comments on here. Here's one. Zach says, do they take questions straight from here or somewhere else? Well, there's your answer, Zach. We take them right off
everywhere. It's right there.
Henry wants to know the biggest difference, just to summarize this, from last year to this year that makes you confident about the chances this season. Do they play with a chip on their shoulder? Would you agree? What's the difference between this year and last year? Is there one?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see some real buy-in from our guys, and that's all 26 guys and that are in that clubhouse. There's real buy-in as to what we're building, and there are some short-term goals and there's some long-term goals, and we'll balance those. But there's a real commitment to the daily grind of what we're trying to do and what it looks like to work every day, what it looks like to take team at bats and to build something that could be fun to watch for quite some time here. Guys aren't just taking at bats for themselves. They're not just looking at their numbers. They're truly looking at, how do I contribute to a win today? And we are training to win every day. There's going to be games we come up short. Yesterday we came up short, man. We usually don't give up 3-run homers. We've been really good about limiting damage to that degree. And Morton, he threw a good game against us. He spun it well, used the sinker properly, and we just lost, right? You're going to have games like that, but they're truly committed to playing the game the right way every day. And I think it'd be hard for someone to argue against that at the moment.
Couple of questions from the text line. This one says, there was a flare-up between you and the Diamondbacks dugout before Sunday's game. What was that all about? Also, I assume you won't be getting a Christmas card from the Culpas this year. And a different texter wants to know how much it costs when you're ejected from the game. So,
oh goodness, how do I want to answer this without getting into more? I defend our coaches and our players above everything, and I will continue to do that. I give two damns about how it comes across the way. I'll leave it at that, but I will defend our staff and our players all day, every single day. How expensive are the fines? They can get up there depending on how long I stay out or what I say. So they can get a little pricey from time to time. Yeah.
Hey, I'm not
gonna throw a number out there.
Ollie, I know Culpa pretty well. You want me to talk to him a little bit for you?
No, I actually talked to him. Right, then we had a conversation the next day, and he was great about it, man. He was an absolute pro, and we were able to talk through some things. I don't mind Culpa at all. There's very few of them. I mean, here's the thing, man. The reality is, you're playing an emotional game where things hinge on balls and strikes, and I mean it comes down sometimes to that 1-1 count being 2-1 rather than 1-2, and that's a big deal. And when you're vested as much as the players are, I rather be the one sitting in the clubhouse than one of these guys, Herrera or Nato, sitting in the clubhouse. I'll go inside and I'll watch from in there and let them continue to play. So yes, I'll keep it at that.
I like hearing that you talk to Culpa. Culpa seems like a good dude anytime I've talked to him. Bernie, you got any good Baltimore tips for Ollie? I mean, he's there one more night. That's your town, man.
I mean, if he needs me to educate him about crab cakes, it's a lost cause. So I'm not going to waste my time. So, don't Ollie, when you're there, man, don't be eating BLTs. You can get them anywhere, right? Don't be eating like chicken Caesar salads. You can get them like every city in America. You got to go pound that crab meat, man. Right?
I love it. I agree with you. That's the one thing about traveling to all these cities. I do try to get out and try what's specific to that city. So yes, I'm with you on that one. No BLTs. I'm good.
Also, we always love to talk about how here in St. Louis we're charitable. And Eli wants to know if you need any money, Ollie, because he would like to help you out with all the ejections. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. So he's willing to help you pay.
No, we're good there. It actually, you know what they do when they eject you and they fine you, they actually it goes to a charity. So that's the way I view it. I'm just helping others.
So that's why we're so charitable, because you're giving all your money to charity.
Do you think I have a follow-up question on that? Because every time you get thrown out, there's always stuff on social media and other places. It's like, it seems like every time he gets thrown out, his team's fired up. And I understand that would be the impression. But do you think there's ever been a time where you go out there and, kick it around and, you're in the umpire's face and you're going at it? Do you think players like to see that from their manager? Not that you would do it just to perform, but do you think they like that?
Feedback. Gosh, when I played, I did. And maybe I'm just that type of emotional play. Like, what I'm saying? Like I that's the way I'm wired. I'm sure there's some where it doesn't matter, and there's some that really do appreciate it. I was on the side of appreciating it, but at the end of the day, when there's a bad call on Nolan and he looks into the dugout, I'm going out there. Okay, like I'm gonna go out there. I'm like I said earlier, I'd much rather Nolan stay and be able to take his at bat, or Herrera or any of these guys, and me sit in that clubhouse than the other way around. So I'll try to limit the amount of them. I think that's good for everybody. But yes, when it comes to defending the guys, man, I think at times you have to, and there's times where there's better ways of doing it. Yeah.
So to this end, Jimmy wants to know if you're looking forward to the automated strike zone next year.
Oh, dang. You guys are just trying to get me in trouble in this last 15 minutes, huh?
That's Jimmy's fault, not mine.
You know what? We did it in spring training, and I did like it. And in talking to some of the umpires, at the end of the day, man, they just want to get it right as well, right? No different than the replay. Like they want to make sure the game is called the right way. So I think doing it with the challenge system might be of benefit because there's certain games, man, there's certain parts of the game where you just want the right call made. And what they do is hard. I will say that, like, not missing pitches is difficult. And sometimes they come in crucial parts of the game. So being able to get it right, whether that's you have two of them a game, whatever the case may be, I think could benefit the game. I do.
Manager Ollie Marmol, we appreciate your time as always every Tuesday. Thank you for taking the tough ones.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Good seeing you again.
Thank you.
The conversation with Oliver Marmol, sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. He's with us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Still got Bernie Miklas, Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji. The Gashouse Gang continues after this on 104.1 FM KMOX.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said. Call Cherry Kelly, man, CherryKelly.com. Give him a call even though it's late, CherryKelly.com.
Start your summer with a weekend showdown. Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Dodgers roll into Busch Stadium June 6th through the 8th. Be there Friday for a cool new promo, the first ever Cardinals neck fan. Perfect for hot game days. Then on Sunday, young fans 15 and under take home a Rawlings Kids Glove. It's a weekend of big matchups and big giveaways. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Mason Wynn, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
The school year is finally over and it's summer vacation for all our teachers. Celebrate at Busch Stadium. Teachers Night presented by Millipore Sigma is back at the ballpark on Monday, June 9th. With the purchase of a special theme ticket, you can take home an exclusive Teachers-inspired Cardinals jersey featuring the birds on a pencil. As a special treat, the first drink of the summer is on the Cardinals. That's Monday, June 9th, Teachers Night at the ballpark. For tickets and details, visit cardinals.com/theme.
This is Steven Matz, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
It is 67 degrees and cloudy in St. Louis. The high today will be 73. The weather brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning and Electrical.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Michael's Baths. So, as you know, it's such a great deal. If you've been looking at other companies like Bath Fitter or 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, Mike does it local. He does it family. He's been doing nothing but bathrooms for 30 years now. And while many companies are raising prices due to tariff uncertainty, Michael's Baths is doing the opposite. They're offering $500 off any shower or tub replacement and $1,000 off a full bathroom remodel, turning market challenges into savings for their customers. 636-775-0800, michaelsbaths.com.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Tonight, the Cards, the Orioles.
Ameren Total Access 440.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Outfield is straight up for Wynn, and the next delivery to him is hit high in the air to left field. Did he get it? Back to the wall, looking up. It's gone! Into the bullpen. Big fly, Mason Wynn.
Bernie Miklas, Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji on the Gashouse gang. And this question, we just spent several minutes talking to manager Ollie Marmol, with us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. And this question was from Nick, and it was for Ollie, but I feel like we can talk about this here too. The current trend, Nick says, is to give excellent young talent 10-plus year contracts. We've seen it with a lot of the great players like Soto and Tatis and so on and so forth. And Nick says, I just don't see DeWitt doing that. So let's say they do end up with, I mean, who knows, maybe Jordan Walker just really goes on an incredible tear here and they want to keep him long term. And maybe it would cost a 10-year contract. Do you think the Cardinals would ultimately swim in those waters if they have to?
It's interesting. I like how Nick also pushed and said, Chris, don't skimp on my question. You know, I like the urgency from the fans. It's good.
They want to know, man.
It's in the chat. They want their questions answered. Darn it. Bernie, I'll toss this to you because, you know, I think that they should follow the Braves model here, you know, draft, develop, and retain.
Yeah, as a general principle, sure, but I think you have to be careful. I mean, let's think about some Cardinals players, young players in the past. Like if you would have saw Gorman his first 2 years, seriously, his first 2 years, the numbers after that second season were very encouraging, and he was still a really young guy. So you would, at that time, I remember saying, well, they ought to sign him to a long-term deal. They'll save money in the long term. Would anybody do that now? No. Jordan Walker, after his rookie year, where he was about 15% above league average offensively, looked really, really good. showed that he offensively that he could sort of bounce back when things were starting to go south. Okay, Bill DeWitt, give him a 10-year contract. What would be people thinking about the 10-year contract now? I mean, this stuff is so easy to say. In terms of practical measure, I think it's really tricky. The best player, I think, based on the feedback that I get, and you guys get a lot of feedback too, it seems to me that the player maybe the Cardinals fans love the most, just for all that he does, is Brendan Donovan. He's 20. I think he's 28 years old. They're certainly not going to give him a 10-year contract. Would he sign for 6? Would he sign for 7? Even that, there's some risk baked in, but there's always going to be risk. Victor Scott, is it too early to talk about, a 8, 9, 10-year contract for him? I think it is. It's no disrespect to him. But a lot of it has to do with Chaim Bloom's philosophy on this. Chaim Bloom, who I think, also got pressured by ownership, wanted to lock in Rafael Devers. I always mispronounce his name. Now, that's a long contract, man, 13 years. And listen, he's a great hitter, but he's going to be a DH probably. And he's also kind of a volatile guy in the clubhouse. And how's that contract going to look 3, 4, 5 years from now? I don't know. See, this is where my brain is bad for good talk radio because I'm pragmatic.
Right.
And I know you're supposed to have a hot take. I just don't.
Well, and Zach and Nick both have checked back in and said they've been talking about Mason Wynn, who seems to be that emerging talent.
That's a guy. Yeah.
Here, I would say this though: the difference between like Fernando Tatis and Mason Wynn is Tatis was an OPS in the mid 900s when they did that. When they're giving him that kind of contract, it's a little bit different with Mason Wynn, who's emerging we know he's a good defensive talent, but he's emerging as an offensive talent. Not quite there, though. I think it'd be different if they had raised a Fernando Tatis. Now you really have to have this conversation.
Yeah, Tom, and I think, Nick, and I apologize to him. Yeah, Wynn, for some reason, I forgot to mention Wynn. He looks like a candidate for sure. And then you got to even think about J.J. Weatherholt. He's not even in the major leagues, but if he's going to be the type of player they think he is, and he gets off to a great start in his major league career, he might be one of the better bets about giving out a long-term deal to a young player. They also have to want to accept it, and their agents are going to want to have to accept it. But this idea that Bill DeWitt's never done this before, or he doesn't do it. Hello, Albert Pujols, Adam Wainwright, only 2 of the greatest players in the history of the franchise. They were very young guys when they got long-term deals from DeWitt.
Sure. I remember they locked up Colton Wong. I can't remember how long that deal was, but it was a lengthy one. And initially it didn't look very good. And then he was kind of a late bloomer, a little bit better. But, you hit or miss on some of these. I agree with Wynn. I like the idea of locking up a position. If you know that the position is solid and he plays a solid shortstop and you think that his ceiling is high offensively, I roll with it with Mason Wynn. I just think he's so good defensively and has those marketable qualities. He's just a guy you want to have on this team. I think that also factors in when it comes to a player like that.
Bernie, let's tell everybody about our friends at Saliga as we hit the break here on the Gashouse game.
I'd be happy to do it. I love Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Miklases have been calling Saliga for 16, 17 years now. And we've learned what every multiple generations of St. Louis families have known since 1927. That's when Saliga opened, and the Saliga family's been taking care of St. Louis families for nearly 100 years. I love that. And I can just tell you straight up, their honesty, 100% rating. Their knowledge, professionalism, 100% rating. When they come into our home, we never have to worry about them trying to hustle us or talk us into something we don't need. Saliga Heating and Cooling does it the other way. They actually offer cheaper short-term solutions where you don't have to, like, every time something goes bad, you don't have to worry about this big, huge cost. Hey, we can take care of this. We can do it for this much. It's a lot cheaper. You'll get another 3 years out of it. They've done that a couple times for us. So we are huge fans of Saliga. They can do whatever you want, whether it's for your home or your business. Finally, I want you to know about their Priority Club, and we're in that, and we've saved money because of it, because it's a maintenance program, and you get maintenance on your equipment twice a year. They make sure you're ready for all 4 seasons. You don't have to worry about anything. And if there's sometimes, as it happened with us a couple weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, there's a little problem, they'll catch it. They'll catch it on the spot before it becomes a big and expensive problem. So the one of the benefits with preventative maintenance is it extends the life of your equipment, but you'll also have that peace of mind. So check out everything at Saliga by going to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. The phone number 314-481-7333. Go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Hi, I'm Travis McGowan of the Travis Group, a health insurance brokerage. At the Travis Group, we specialize in helping individuals, families, and small businesses make sense of their health insurance options. Whether you're turning 65, your kids are aging off of your plan, or you're looking for better accident and hospital coverage, the Travis Group is here to offer honest-to-goodness health insurance guidance. As a St. Louis native, husband, and father of 5, I know how important it is to protect what matters. Visit us for more information at travis4insurance.com.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
Hey, it's Jeff at Sachs Financial. Over the last 15 years, we've been able to help our clients focus on the fundamentals and tune out the daily grind by putting a great retirement plan in place. If you don't have one, find out how to get started at retiresafestl.com.
Here's a few questions for you from California Psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California Psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where are you going, Terry? Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Charlie Brennan with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. What can people expect when they visit one of your doctors at the Audiology Center?
Expect a friendly greeting and a waiting room stocked full of refreshments. But more importantly, a patient should expect that they're treated on an individual basis. We are not retail, and we pride ourselves on our medical model. Each hearing aid is catered towards each patient's unique needs. Expect a full history intake where we get to know you and your personal needs. And then we'll complete a full battery of tests where we can adequately diagnose your hearing health. We want you to understand those results right away. So directly following your tests, we're going to go over everything extensively. Finally, at that time, we'll develop a customized treatment plan built around you as an individual.
The Audiology Center, 3 locations in the St. Louis area, 636-441-7470. The Audiology Center, STL.com.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are joined by Dr. Albert Kim.
We're using not only molecules, but also machines to confront brain tumors. We have things like laser, which sounds a little science fiction, but lasers can be used to kill tumors. And we can use non-invasive surgeries. It's called focused ultrasound.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1120 AM, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, final few minutes of the Gashouse Gang with Bernie Miklasz, Chris Ranji, producer Matt Pajeski with the tunes there.
What a guy.
I know. I'm Tom Ackerman. Bernie, let me throw this one back to you because you asked about Lars Nootbaar and the struggles that he has been under, and they are well documented. Nootbaar is 1 for his last 19 with 8 strikeouts, 1 walk over his last 5 games. That is not very good. If you were looking at candidates for a leadoff hitter, who would be leading the charge right now? And obviously, if you look at on-base percentage, Donovan's your man. Let me throw a guy out there. Victor Scott II has 3 steals over the last 4 games. He has 16 steals. That's 5th in all of baseball. He's been caught only 1 time. There's a second part when it comes to steals is you got to get on base to steal bases, and he's been able to do that too. So just curious what you think of Vic.
I think he's growing into a potential leadoff hitter. I wouldn't do it right now. I wouldn't want to put that kind of pressure on him. I mean, sometimes what happens is we see a guy have success and we assume, well, that you should move him to the cleanup spot, or you should move him to the 3rd spot, or you should move him to the 1st spot. And it changes a young hitter's entire mindset. So if he's doing really well in the 9 hole, which, by the way, is kind of the double leadoff thing anyway, because in effect, how many times does a lineup turn around where Victor Scott's leading off an inning, or he's maybe the second hitter in an inning? You're sort of getting a leadoff hitter type value. You're also lengthening your lineup. So there's another thing to be said about having him down towards the bottom. But listen, I love Victor Scott. In fact, I'm going to be wearing one of those. Victor Scott's got his own gear line at Arch Apparel. I ordered a hat, so I'll wear it as soon as it comes in. I love the guy. But that said, you're talking about a guy that's got a 324 lead on base percentage. There's nothing wrong with that, but you really want your leadoff guy to be much higher than that. So, but yeah, I think he's a candidate. I wouldn't look at it now, and Nootbaar's numbers, and I got him with Nootbaar's numbers have been bad for a real long time. Just take a look at his numbers in May. Go to Baseball Reference or whatever and look at the splits. And his walk rate has dropped by half. He's not drawing walks anymore. But I think you got to ride it out. I think he's getting a little jumpy at the plate. I don't think he's being as selective. I think he's overly aggressive. And he just sort of has to remind himself what he does best, which is battle pitchers, make them throw a lot, give his teammates who are waiting to bat 2nd, 3rd, 4th, take a lot of pitches so they can see what the guy has and how he's approaching it. And don't get yourself out. He's been getting himself out. If they want to walk you, take the walk. I mean, that just sets up Wynn. It sets up Nootbaar. It sets up Donovan. It sets up whoever's batting 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on. So, Mason Wynn at some point, I'd like to see that. I wouldn't throw him back in the leadoff hole just yet, though.
You guys know Ryan Spader. He's a real good baseball follow. He really dives into stats. I want to get into his. Someday we'll do this when we have time, but he's got this interesting optimal lineup construction thing where he says the absolute best hitter should actually lead off the game, and your worst hitter should bat 7th. It's a whole thing. I don't quite understand it, but I would like to get into that with you guys and see what you think about it.
That's not really a new theory, but yeah, I get it. We can talk about it sometime.
All right, we will do that. Bernie Miklasz, Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji, thank you for listening to the Gas House Gang, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. The conversation with Oliver Marmol. You can go back and watch it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or find it on the Odyssey app. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 here on KMOX.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write